Hi, welcome back. I am so excited because I have been working on a body of work for a very long time. And it's really come together in the last couple of months, in the last couple of weeks, in the last couple of days. And if we haven't already met, my name is Dena, and I'm an energy healer, creative life coach. And I blend these attributes together to create these really massive, powerful, transformative courses. And I've worked with clients to help them move through energetic blocks that stick them, that get them stuck from being able to pursue the creative dreams that they've been holding with them. And I've been on calls with mastermind groups that I'm in, and one question came up, a couple questions came up, but one question came up that I was really like, it hit me, and I wish I could have answered this question. But there's this question of this wobble that happens. And I'm sure you've had this, we've all had this sense of a wobble when we're trying to make a decision. And really, the key I've noticed with the wobble is that you're always going to wobble. You're never not going to wobble, right? It's really the opportunity that you have in front of you of you've got all of these options and you have to make a decision. And you either make a decision with the I don't know anything lens. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need. I don't know what's going to be the best for me. So I make decisions in anxiety and worry. Or you're one of those people that is really assured of the decisions that they're making or have a way to align themselves in the decisions that they're making. And that the wobble is less of a I don't know, and more of a do I want that? Do I want that? Does this fulfill me? Is this what I need? Is this what I want? And I really thought about, well, what does it take for a person to go from uneasy, unsure wobble to strengthening in their wobble and knowing that it's flexibility? And so for me, I take yoga every day. I do hot yoga classes. And in that, you have to learn strength and stamina along with flexibility. And so everybody wobbles every day. Your bodies are always different. And you have to see where you're at and you have to have a check in. And you don't blame yourself for not being the best yogi in the studio. You don't walk out because the wobble happened. You don't give up. You just play with it and you move through it and you do the best that you can and you have fun with it and you allow yourself to fall and get back up and try again. And you keep strengthening that muscle. You rip it a little bit, it mends and it strengthens. And this is exactly how life is. And so understanding this wobble and this strength. So then what is it in us that we need to have that grounds us? We need to be grounded so that when we sway back and forth like a tree, we're anchored in our roots. We're anchored in who we are. We're anchored in what it is that we want out of life. We're anchored in a vision, possibly a mission that we're on, possibly a mission that we've just set out for ourselves, a purpose that we've given our lives, even just to be this co-creator with the divine. And when we can remember that lens, when we can remember that footing in the world and ground ourselves, I would notice that the wobble becomes less of an unsure wobble. I don't know where I'm going. I have self-doubt, and more of, does this align with who I am? Does this choice align with who I am? And we can start making judgments from this place of a sense of self-security, self-concept of like self-confidence that I do want to create things in my life. I will create the things in my life. I will also be receptive to allowing those things in my life. And I now can see, does this activity, experience, person help me further along that path, or is this keeping me stuck? And so I've developed a course. It's in the process of unwrapping and coming underway. We're going to kick off in about a week. And it's called The Compass and the Code. And this is really about owning your code. And I think a lot of times I noticed this for myself, so I'm hoping that this is helpful for you, that when I can see it, when I can refer back to it, when I can get a sense of this is who I am in a way that's written that empowers me, I can go back to that anytime I get a little unsure. We have high days, we have low days, we get really excited, and then we just have these feelings that go through us. And I've learned over the years that they're just emotions. They don't mean anything. They're just thoughts. I can easily let them go and I can anchor back in. And one of the fastest ways I can anchor back in is when I have something to refer back to, my own sacred code, my own keys to unlock my own empowerment. I have values, I have principles, I have a philosophy of life. And it helps remind me as I'm building and creating when I get a little too lost in my own thoughts, or I'm overthinking, or I'm overly emotional about something, that I can easily, quickly just get back into center and know that that wobble can get really, really small. And so I found that when we have this anchoring within us, this like, imagine just like your energetic body has roots inside the Mother Earth, and you can really own a space of Earth. You can own a space, take up space on Earth. That when you have this anchor, you can grow tall, you can go into the cosmos, you can expand wide because you're rooted down. You know your sense of self, you have grounded. I like to call this groundwork. This is really where we cultivate and we build a framework, we build a structure, we build a foundation that we can hold ourselves. This is like an interior space. We can hold that creative flame. We can hold that creative flame so that when we get the ideas, when we get the inspiration that comes through, and that spark that is lit up within us has a place to burn really bright, has a place to not burn us out, and has a place to keep staying at a really high velocity. And so there's a lot of pieces that go into building that space, maintaining that space, and keeping that fire lit at all times. But before we can get to any of that, before we can really open up our channel and be really super intuitive, we're all intuitive, creative, wonderful divine beings. And I know there's things out in the world that you want to get to, like I do. We want to be able to open up and have this very clear, very wide channel so that we can hear the guidance that we need and we can have the communication that we want to have. And so in order to do that, want to make sure that we have a really solid foundation. It's like bringing the sacred into your home. You want to make sure your house is clean. You want to make sure that everything is put in the right order. You want to make sure that everything is maintained and upkept. You're the same. You're a very sacred vessel, and you want to apply that. And you want to think about that as you embark on new journeys and you keep expanding, just to understand and articulate. I think it's the articulation of who we are and how we want to be in the world allows us to make decisions at micro levels, interactions at micro levels, if we stay in that integrity. It also allows us to really embody. So a lot of times when we have these goals and these dreams and we want to stretch ourselves, it's not necessarily for the end, right? Like money, we all want money, we need money to survive, but the money actually gives us freedom. It gives us luxury, it gives us freedom, it gives us space, it gives us time. And a lot of times people get stuck in that sense of you want these things that are bigger than you that you've never experienced. So how do I embrace that? And this is where that creative spark comes in, because we have an imagination that we can play with. So when we start thinking about bigger goals in our lives, we can start to embody what does it feel like to be in that space today. And we can start closing that gap of us making that a reality. But in order to do that, we have to make sure everything is working within us internally so that we can not only see the vision, hold the vision, but keep the vision alive and move forward with it in this very highly spiritual sort of way that you're holding on to the divine. And that is your guidance. You become your compass, you become your code, you understand what you're about. You're going to document the discoveries that we move through, and you're going to understand more about yourself in a way that maybe will surprise you. And to invoke these elements and these spirits, your spirit within you, and any guides around you, that can help give you that extra level of support, that extra level of connection as you move forward. And so when we think about having a life where we love and being able to create a life that we love, it is absolutely possible. We just have to have these key ingredients in place. I believe, I know, actually, from all the work that I've done, from all of the books that I've studied, from all of the spiritual teachers that I've studied with, there's always this key theme and this understanding, and we're going to boil it down. And that's also my work, that I've done over the years with brands. Every company has a vision, has a mission, has values, has principles, has a philosophy, has something to get behind. And those are the companies, those are the brands that you cherish and you love and you want to identify with. You absolutely can apply that to your own life. You absolutely should apply that to your own life. And it can be very clear about what your mission is. If you don't already have one, I'm happy to offer one to you. You are a co-creator with the divine, and your only purpose and job is to create. And with that, is up to you how you want to fill in the details. But first, we need to know who you are, who you want to embody. That's already encoded inside of you. It's just a matter of bringing it out. And so you will have your grounding, you'll have your code book, and through that, you'll also start to have a North Star. What is your vision for your life? What is your philosophy? What is your mission? Again, if I'm just a co-creator with the divine and I can create whatever I want, what does that look like? And so you start to have this like star on a string that you get to hold and walk around with. And so everything that can light that up even more is where we go towards. So we're going to build step by step. And then we get into intuitive artist and we really open up that channel. We've set the groundwork and the foundation. Now we can open up that channel and let that intuition kick in and really clean through that channel, open it up even more. And once we start getting those downloads, then we'll get into the ignited soul. And this is where we take those inspired ideas and we turn them into action. We move with them. We bring them out into the world. We're inspired. We move through the challenges. We understand ourselves even more. And then we get into limitless, where now that we've put things into action, we've had that process of getting really within, hearing it, what it is that we need to be doing, bringing it out into the world. Now we can go into endless possibilities. And we can open up our mind. We can open up ourselves and our energy to anything that we think is possible. And so that's such a wonderful idea of like, there's no cap, there's no ceiling to the top of anything. So I hope you join me on this journey. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Let's do this together. Let's start really walking this path of a spiritual, enlightened, creative, ready to pioneer into a new world. And let's start with the basics and let's really understand who we are, hone that energy in, embody that, and let's start making some really cool shit. I'll see you in the next one. I love you all. Take care.